the most.
Mike Ditka at halftime from Cleveland. Meanwhile, in Cleveland Stadium, is it for the last time? The Cleveland Browns take the field in preparation for their game against the Cincinnati Bengals. And there is wide receiver Michael Jackson, his way of saying goodbye to the fans. We'll send you out to your game right after these words from your local station.
It's the original holiday comedy classic. Chevy Chase, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Randy Quaid in National Lampoon.
The best parts in auto parts.
Head and a tail. Head and a tail. Who's going to...
Good afternoon, everybody. The NFL on NBC. An historical afternoon. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Is it the end of the Browns in Cleveland? This is Charlie Jones along with Randy Cross. It is a very cold afternoon, but it is clear the sun is shining. But it is not shining in the hearts of the Cleveland fans here today, Randy.
Well, Charlie, it's only appropriate. I don't know if many people have been in this stadium when the sun was actually shining in December for a game. It's great for the fans that are here. There's all kinds of things. You've heard it all on the pregame show, the way things have been. Mike Ditka put it best about the fans and how they feel about their football team here in Cleveland. They're absolutely crazy about it. The reality of our situation, though, is, Charlie, in the NFL today, rollerball is here. It's corporate football. It's a billionaire's business, and the family owners are on the way out.
The head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals, Dave Shula, record is 6-8. He would like to get to 500 if he can win the last two. Bill Belichick of the Cleveland Browns, they have lost 6 in a row. Their record on the year is 4-10. And the weather, to make it official, is as follows: 32 degrees. I told you it was cold. Chance of snow flurries, they didn't tell me about that. The Browns have won the toss, and they will be receiving, and that means that Lee Johnson will be kicking off for Cincinnati. Earnest Byner and Derek Alexander are the deep backs on the return for Cleveland. The atmosphere here is very quiet, very somber. In reality, it is more like a family funeral.
Well, then it's a good reflection of their football team. I think since the move was declared, this team has pretty much reflected a dirge, a wake. It's been that way, and it's sort of poetic that they get the ball off the crack here for Vinny Testaverde in this offense to do something.
And here is Derek Alexander on the return across the 20, and he is out to the 25-yard line. And so Cleveland will go to work following that 19-yard kickoff return, led by their quarterback, Vinny Testaverde. And here is the offensive line. He'll be operating behind.
Well, their experiment of 1 week is gone. They're going to put Steve Everett back at center. That gives them the best chance to run the ball. Very important to get Byner going with this running game.
And then when they go to the 4-wide, Derek Alexander is going to come in. Normally a 1-back, 3-wide receiver set. And they start from the 25-yard line, and they start on the ground. And Earnest Byner gets the call. And we'll check out the defense of Cincinnati, Randy.
Well, up front, they're pretty good size. They're missing Dan Wilkinson out with this neck injury he suffered last week. That hurts him inside. A lot smaller with Artie Smith down there.
And in their secondary.
Secondary is going to be tough. They eventually have 3 starting corners with Roger Jones, Corey Sawyer, and when they go to the nickel, they bring in Rod Jones.
So it is 2nd down and 7. In case you're joining us, this is the opening drive of the ball game. And there's absolutely nothing there for Earnest Byner, as Andre Collins is there to bring him down.
Well, one thing that's a known fact in the Cleveland offense is it has a distinct lack of speed. Lack of speed in the offensive line, lack of speed at the running back position. If you go sideways against this defense right now, you got absolutely no chance. Belichick's best chance offensively is just to be boring, pound it, and smash it in the middle, because they can't make the corners.
3rd down and 11, the ball back at the 24-yard line. 4 wide receivers in the offensive set. And deep over the middle, in and out of the hands of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson yesterday told us, he said, I always have trouble at the beginning of a game. I can't hang on onto the ball. Then I will feed on the fans here because they get on my back.
Well, and it's not really the hard ones he has a hard time with. It's the easy ones. Going from the light, ball coming out of the dark, doesn't concentrate on the ball, and little prophetic statement from Mr. Jackson. He misses an easy one early.
John Chupa will be kicking it away. And a pretty good kick. Corey Sawyer is the return man with the fair catch. And he will pull it in at the 33-yard line. 42 yards on the kick. And so now Cincinnati will go to work offensively. First time in the ball game. Their young quarterback is Jeff Blake. He's going to the Pro Bowl. He is having an outstanding year.
Biggest difference from last year to this year, Charlie, when you talk to Jeff Blake and he talks about this offense, it's us. It's my offense.
My back.
We do this.
Yes, right.
That's a big offensive line. Biggest job today for that line. Protect Jeff Blake so he can get the ball to those skilled players.
And they come out throwing. Back underneath the coverage. This is to Jeff Cochran. We've got a flag down.
It's down inside, down in that holding area. Cleveland's going to be going up into the face of these offensive linemen a lot to get push on Blake.
Jerry Austin is the referee on this frigid afternoon.
Tripping, number 72 of the offense, 10 yards, repeat first down.
That's on Scott Brumfield.
Boy, when you're 6'8", 330 pounds, why do you have to trip somebody?
Just nudge him.
I mean, a guy like that couldn't even make that move. You just saw Jerry Austin putting that foot behind. He'd fall down trying that.
First down and 20. The ball now back at the 23-yard line. The Cincinnati Bengals, Dave Schuler, the coach, describes their offense as ball control passing offense. This one is incomplete at the 30-yard line. Let's check out the defense of the Cleveland Browns.
And the spot really this Browns defense wants to attack is with this front seven. Attack that offensive line. Break down the line with these guys. You can attack this offense.
You can attack their secondary also.
Well, Antonio Langham's got a banged-up shoulder, hurt last week against Minnesota. They'll go against him. And we go to nickel. Dana Hall, the former 49er, comes in, and Tim Jacobs was victimized all week last weekend for Langham, and he's got a bad shoulder.
Second and 20. Play action fake, rolling, picking up a screen block from the referee, and then out of bounds. Not a bad move by Jeff Blake. You find help anywhere you can. He was finally chased out by Larry Webster.
Self-preservation can be a very motivating factor sometimes, and you take advantage of the bodies you've got out there around you, but a good job right there of flushing Blake out of the pocket, making him get out there, make things happen, and what they're doing defensively right now.
61.
At 61, Tootin, the big offensive tackle, in at tight end, but they've zoned up so far. Not much man out of Cleveland.
And Tootin has a couple of receptions and a touchdown this year. As a good arm goes deep but misses. He was going to David Dunn. It will be fourth down, and so Cincinnati will kick it away.
Remember, this Cincinnati offense, Charlie, is still very young. With Pickens and Scott and Blake and whatnot, they need early success. When they get frustrated, as they have been the last few weeks at times, that's when they can start trying to make things happen. Almost a pickoff there by Langham.
Ooh, taking some time as if it might be a fake, possibly setting something up later. And it's going to be down to around the 33 or the 34-yard line, first touching. And Cleveland was going to take over. We have no score in the ball game. We'll step aside. We'll be back in just a moment. To Cleveland, it is very quiet here. How quiet is it? It doesn't feel like a football game at all, does it?
Not really. It's very, very somber. And what these fans need is a reason to get excited. And believe me, these fans would love to get excited about something big happen. You know, but this offense that Cleveland has a good amount of talent. In fact, Tony Dungy from the Minnesota Vikings, who they played last week, said that he thought this offense had the second best talent to any team they've played besides Dallas.
So Cleveland in a scoreless first quarter thus far, opening their second drive from the 36-yard line. They're going to pick up 4 to the 40. Earnest Byner carries. Armando Stallings makes the tackle for Cincinnati. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Here's a look at Earnest Byner. 71 rushes, 259 yards. You saw his average. He has been averaging 7 carries a ball game. He, by the way, is their #1 receiver with 48 receptions.
Well, the big dog running the ball has been Leroy Horde. He was put on IR yesterday with that cracked rib.
And here's a little swing into the left flat, and it's Byner again. He pulls it in, and he's going to see where they get the mark. He could be the first down. It's going to be the first down. First down of the ball game.
Well, they kind of did a little change up. They had 3 or 4 wide receivers in the first play, bring in 2 tight ends on this one. They're thinking run and just swing that out to Byner. And Byner showing something this offense has sorely been missing since they let Eric Metcalf get away last year, and that's a little speed and wiggle out of a back.
Cleveland, 47-yard line. In the sunshine, Byner around the corner, left side. Nice inside-out move, and he'll get a fan reaction there. May pick up the first down. Corey Sawyer, after a gain of 11, finally brings him down. We talked with Sawyer yesterday. He played his collegiate ball at Florida State. He said, you know, it took me a little time to get comfortable, but just like at Florida State, you like to talk a little trash and play comfortable football.
Well, you know, he said he was always worried about making a mistake, and he went to the final judge, Charlie, to get himself settled down. He went to his mom.
That's right.
He said, Mom, what am I doing wrong? And she told him, hey, look, you're just not the same guy. You're not loose. You're not out there being what made you good.
Not having a good time. Pass back underneath the coverage. Byner again. Byner is the entire offense thus far for the Cleveland Browns. Ricardo McDonald wraps him up. They'll spot it to the 40-yard line, so it's going to go for 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Well, a little bit of this, mixing in Byner too, Charlie, honestly, is to sort of get Larry Peccatello, the defensive coordinator, and the defense for Cincinnati thinking about Byner, thinking about the running backs, and try to get some attention away from the Michael Jacksons and the Andre Risons and the McCardles and whatnot, because that's where the big plays come from.
Here's the screen, and it's Byner again, but this time Cincinnati is all over the screen. They're going to lose maybe 3 yards on the play back to the original line of scrimmage.
Andre Collins made a great play there. They had both tight ends in on the backside blocking. They're trying to go off to a little flip screen to the left. See the tight ends on the right, making things look like a run, a little flip screen with the line. Look how Collins just broke that whole blocking structure down. I mean, that's the kind of thing that Collins did for a long time for a gentleman in our studio, Joe Gibbs in Washington with the Redskins. He just makes big plays.
4 wide receivers in the set. 3rd down and 10. Testaverde swing left flat. Has to be Byner. It is. No, he drops it. I'm not sure there's anybody else on offense besides the quarterback at number 21.
That's about the time you see the guy looking down at his hands, you know, kind of like that movie, that recent movie about the kids playing football. How can you let me down? Where have you been?
Where have you been, hands? Oh,
they were right in the midst. But I thought they're really doing, Charlie, is setting them up for later. They're going to take cracks down the field.
Sawyer, the return man, signals for the fair catch, and it's going to take a Cleveland bounce. This spins back and is going to go out around the 7-yard line. We've got a flag down.
Well, Johnny Thomas was down there trying to look back into the sun, back into the shade. He was about to fall down on himself, trying to be near the ball. And an illegal man downfield against Cleveland.
So they'll get to do it again.
Ineligible. Downfield on the kick. Number 51. 5 yards. Repeat 4th down.
Okay, now you want to find out if you're Belichick on the sideline for Cleveland, how good of a pooch, kick out of bounds guy your guy Tupa is. He's already done one right there, nailed him back inside the 10-yard line.
Can he do 2 in a row?
Well, I tell you, like I mentioned, Johnny Thomas was clean down the field. He's lined up on the near side as the gunner on the outside for the punt team. The outside guys will be the ones underneath the ball on this.
Good snap. Good Good kick. This could carry too far. He goes for the corner. Oh, he gets it.
Perfect.
Even better. 2-yard line. All right. 46 yards.
Job security, Charlie.
Yes.
Job security.
Crowd reaction. No score. Back in a moment.
Bell on NBC is brought to you by Buick and your local dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. By HP Printers and HP Printer Fax Copiers for home and small business. Products you can depend on. By the United States Marine Corps. When you become a Marine, the change is forever. And by McDonald's. Have you had your break today?
Cincinnati from their 2-yard line. To throw from the end zone. Pump fake, wants to go deep. Has a man in and out of his arms. Incomplete. At the 17-yard line, it was Darnay Scott. The intended receiver, Don Griffin, was there.
Well, we keep saying it's such a nice day, but I don't know. Maybe the balls are frozen or something because these guys are handling it like it's a bad weather game. Great protection for Blake in the end zone. Ball's a little bit behind Scott. That's inexcusable. You catch those balls, especially for your quarterback when you're backed up, because he's got to have it. Because right now you're looking at man up on the outside and blitz Jeff Blake.
Blake now 0 for 3. And see if there's anything on the ground. There is nothing there. And, of course, operating right in front of the famous dog pound, Harold Green getting the call.
And that offensive line is something that they're going to have to address in Cincinnati by next year. Because remember, there's a gentleman out of Penn State that got hurt his rookie year by the name of Kajana Carter.
Oh, he's going to be awesome.
And I don't care how good he is, if he gets that kind of blocking up front, they can make a great back look average if they don't get better up front.
In Cincinnati, as you see, only 5 total yards. 8:21 in counting, time remaining, no score first quarter.
Watch for the block pass. They got 5 against them last time.
Pass is complete, and this will be the first down, then dropped out of bounds. Carl Pickens has a 17-yard reception, converting on 3rd down and 11. Oh, remember that play.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Pickens just working one-on-one against Don Griffin, an old teammate of mine from San Francisco. And the key there was twofold. 1, Blake got the time. And 2, Pickens got the room. But watch the passing lane coming out over the left guard and left tackle. See that space between those two guys that Blake could throw the ball? You can't block a pass if you form passing lanes for your quarterback. I don't care how tall or short he is.
And see if there's anything on the ground. Well, there's a couple of 3 yards, not much there. Now, this is a game of historical proportions from the standpoint. It is the end of an era for the Cleveland Browns, could well be. And as you know, there are Cleveland Brown fans all over the United States and all over the world. And our telecast is basically going to the state of Ohio. So this morning I set up an 800 number. So those of you that are Browns fans that are watching around the country, if you would call 1-800-400-JONES, clever, looks like that, 1-800-400-JONES, and the operators are there, and they will write down, tell them where you're calling from, and the second half will give a report of everybody that's calling in. So everybody watching around the world. And this one is dropped right side. Yeah, I think you're right. You were on the field, and you said it was much colder down there, so maybe that has an effect.
Well, it's got some effect. The wind is coming, as always, out of the end of this horseshoe here at Cleveland Stadium. But there's really no excuse. The sun's not in your eyes. You got a little bit of the breeze working off the lake, which if it's 32, it's probably, let's say 20 or 18 with the wind chill and whatnot. But this area is no big deal. And the Bengals have already dropped 3 of the first 5 passes Jeff Blake's thrown to him.
Third down. Blake has pressure. He is forced. One of the things they want to do in Browns is they want to push the pocket right into his face. They say he's not tall enough, but he really is about 6'1", 6'1 and a half. And they want to knock it down.
Well, watch the passing lanes where he wants to throw this. He's got to throw it between bodies and between arms, not into a defensive lineman's face. He hit Dan Footman right in the face with that one, and he really had nowhere to go. When you have a quarterback like Jeff Blake, who is about 6'1", you want to form the passing lanes, getting the bodies out of the way for your quarterback.
Pressure on Lee Johnson, barely gets it off. But it takes a Bengal roll. And then picked up on the hop by McCardell and out of bounds at around the 22-yard line. And so the Bengals with the first down and the 54-yard kick are basically out of trouble. Browns have the ball, no score. We're in the first quarter. We have no score. Cincinnati and Cleveland. Mixed emotions on the Cleveland Browns.
I don't think emotion plays much in the Cleveland Browns game plan right now, and hasn't for the last 8 or 9 weeks. They're completely flat.
Testaverde throws far side. And Michael Jackson. Jackson has his first reception of the ball game. Corey Sawyer had the coverage.
Now, Pepper Johnson brought up what I thought a very interesting thing, something that kind of clarified the mood here in Cleveland to him. He said, you know, we've been introducing the offense, introducing the defense every week. And then they decided they were just going to start introducing the team, because the players are getting tired of getting booed by the home crowd. And he goes, that told me where these players' heads were at. They were so worried about how the fans were going to boo them, how they were handling the situation. They were forgetting about football. That was not their top priority. Football is not the top priority to the Cleveland Browns right now.
Byner, the ball carrier, to the 31-yard line. He'll pick up about 4 on the play. Should be third down, a yard and a half to go for the first down. Byner now 5 carries. He's rushed for 17 yards. Artie Smith, the defensive end for Cincinnati, makes the stop on the play.
Well, like you mentioned before in the last possession, if you get the total offense for the Cleveland Browns and the total offense for Earnest Byner so far in this game, about the same number. They featured him, have not got a ball outside.
Byner last week picking up only 11 yards against the Vikings on the ground, and now trying to pick up the first down. If he gets the mark, he's got it. And he does. First down.
And they're running to the strength of that offensive line, which is in the middle with Steve Everett, with Dahl working against Rucker. And that's where you should go for those short yards like that. They've got a big physical offensive line here. They should be able to get those kind of yards. You take a look there at Steve Everett, the center out of Michigan, laughingly referred to in a local, or laughingly by me and him, in a local magazine as a Renaissance man. He goes, well, you know, articles like that are great because I can mail them home to my family. My mom loves it, but don't buy that.
Here's Byner right side, cuts back, across the 35, 37-yard line. Tracy Walker, Keith Rucker there for the Cincinnati Bengals. And you're right, the Browns have decided, though, at least in the first half, they're just going to try and ground it out and pick up as much yardage as they can. Not a lot of excitement thus far.
Or imagination. You've got all kinds of weapons. And right now, if this is basically your basic shootout at the OK Corral, Cleveland's bringing out their best knife-wielding techniques in a gunfight.
Here comes the blitz. Is picked up. Maybe a yard and a half again by Byner.
You know, if you want to play a time of possession type of game with Cincinnati, in my opinion, you're asking for trouble. If you do this, you better get touchdowns, because remember about the quick strike ability of the Cincinnati Bengals. They might only have 4 good plays on you in a game offensively. But those 4 plays might go for 220 yards and get 28 points out of them. No.
You're absolutely right. Third down and 3. Here's the shovel pass underneath. It is Byner. Byner works his way through all the way to Bengal territory. 12 yards. First down, 49-yard line of Cincinnati. Corey Sawyer with the tackle.
Well, there's a little imagination for you out of the Cleveland Browns with the shuffle pass. You know, this Cincinnati Bengals defense last week had their best game of the year. And right now they've got them guessing a little bit because they are out of character. They're not trying to throw the ball outside of their skill guys. They're going with the bludgeon defense, or bludgeoned offense in this case. And they've got Cincinnati back on their heels a little.
Byner now 4 receptions, 19 yards receiving. Here's a play action fake deep over the middle, double coverage right on target. He nails Michael Jackson. And you remember, Jackson dropped the first one. Well, he comes back with a big catch here for 23 yards.
Well, we know something, Charlie. This ball, too, comes out of the shade, goes into the dark. He dropped the easy first one, right?
Yep.
Well, this is not an easy one. He is covered very closely. Vinny threads this ball in, so 0 for 1 on easy, 1 for 1 for hard early.
Remember what he said about the easy? He said, I start looking around to see where everybody is, what my moves are going to be, how far I'm going to go, and I forget the ball. And he did. Here's Ricky Powers. Powers is a free agent from Michigan. He's in his first year. He was activated, actually, for the ball game last week, and that's due to the fact that the Browns are simply banged up at running back. So he has his first carry of the day, and he's going to pick up a couple yards to the 23.
I know the Cincinnati Bengals as a team were very excited to hear that Leroy Horde was on injured reserve. He has traditionally, since he's been here at Cleveland, just ripped up this Bengal offense.
2nd down and 8. And here is Byner to the 20. It'll be 3rd down and 5. John Copeland with the tackle. Now, this is a drive that started back at the Cleveland 22-yard line, and it uses up a lot of time. 1.5 minutes left to go in a scoreless first quarter.
Well, here come the skill guys. Jackson, Risen, McCardell are in the ball game for the Cleveland Browns. This defense frustrated Eric Kramer of the Bears last week severely. In fact, they made Kramer of the Bears look like Kramer of Seinfeld for most of the game last week in Cincinnati.
3rd and 5. Here's the draw. Byner jumps to the outside. He's got the first down inside the 10. Nice running, 8-yard line. First down, goal to go. 12 yards on the play. And Corey Sawyer has been very active defensively for the Bengals, makes the tackle.
Well, if Corey Sawyer, Charlie, has his druthers, this is not the way he'd like to be active. This is a job they leave to the linebackers, to the Tovars and the Waller stats and the safeties like Walker, who you saw bounce off him. Corey Sawyer does not want to have to come up there, because when a cornerback gives up his body, he starts leaving parts of it on the field.
Byner already, total yards, has 59 yards. And the pass is incomplete. I'm not sure that Brian Kitchen could pick it up.
That's a penalty. Rico McDonald held Brian Kitchen. Late flag, but that's what it's going to be for.
Yeah, that's the reason he couldn't pick it up. He was fighting off the hole. Do we see that time of possession again?
Holding number 56 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal.
Half the distance to the goal line. Here's that time of possession. We just got it up and down in a hurry. Look at that. Cincinnati just over 3 minutes. Cleveland over 11 minutes already. 19 seconds left here in the first quarter, and we are scoreless, but the ball at the 4-yard line.
Well, like I said, if you're going to play time of possession, if you're going to play grinded out, methodical offense against this Cincinnati Bengals offense, you better get touchdowns here.
Byner, fighting for every yard, is going to go to the 1-yard line. He is truly having an impressive start.
Well, this is the area, too, this offense has struggled the most, down by the goal line. They've come away with field goals in some very crucial times for this Cleveland Browns team. They've got to blast it in.
First quarter, Byner has rushed for 43 yards. No score. Back in a moment.
AT&T.
2nd and goal, 1-yard line. Who do you need?
You need Jim Brown.
That's right.
Suit this guy up. You got scoring problems in this area of the field. There's a gentleman there that had never had problems scoring the ball. Never had a problem getting it in the end zone, but this team has.
Well, the way Earnest Byner has been going, you figure, but he comes out with a play action and a delayed pass, and it is there for the score to Frank Hartley. And Hartley has his first touchdown of the year.
Well, you remember a couple plays ago, Brian Kitchen was held going to the right by Rico McDonald. Same play action fake to the left side. Steve Crosby and the coaches upstairs for Cleveland saw a weakness. Came back 2 plays later, and the weakness was still there.
So Vinny Testaverde, that is his 15th touchdown pass. Frank Hartley has his first touchdown reception of the year and only his 9th reception of the year. The extra point is good. And the Browns have scored as we open the second quarter. They're out in front by a score of 7-0. The reaction of Vinny Testaverde as we step aside. Back with the kickoff in a moment.
Taco and 2 other classic bacon tastes loaded with bacon. The Bacon Cheeseburger Burrito and the Chicken Club Burrito. The Taco Bell Sizzlin' Bacon menu starting at 99 cents. But hurry, unlike most classics, they won't be around for long.
Opening play, second quarter, Cleveland up 7-0, and Randy, here's the drive.
Well, I hope Frank Hartley saved that ball. I mean, it's not quite the Emmitt Smith touchdown collection. I mean, he's not going to open a shop back in his hometown selling his memorabilia, so he better hold on to that football.
Here is Jeff Hill on the return. Dribbles it, picks it up, slips and slides down at the 14-yard line, and here comes a flag in. 9 yards on the return. Johnny Thomas was there for the Cleveland Browns, and we'll check out the flag.
I'll tell you what, if you could throw it like that, Cincinnati ought to put a handle on that thing. Their guys can't hold on to the ball.
Here in the run back, illegal block from behind on the receiving team. Half a distance to the goal. First down.
Dave Shula pacing the sideline. He was telling us a story, and it was also in the paper here, that the first time that he was here was when his dad was coaching at Baltimore. They came in, they were the favorites. He was 5 years old. It was a cold, bitter afternoon. Spent the whole time standing by the furnaces on the sideline trying to stay warm. They lost. He said, he went in the locker room and says, the first time I've seen grown men cry. And he said, from that moment on, I always hated the Cleveland Browns. And there is an addendum to that story that we'll add in after this play. Here is the draw. Jumping to the outside is Harold Green. Green out to the 13-yard line. We're going to save that addendum because we're going to go to New York for an update. Greg?
All right, Charlie, in Detroit, we'll bring you up to date on the NFC's #1 offense. It belongs to the Lions. Scott Mitchell, his 29th touchdown pass of the year, a 23-yarder to Johnny Morton in the latter stages of the first quarter. The Lions lead the Jaguars 10-0. Charlie and Randy, back to you.
Charlie, the Lions buried their chances of going very far if they make the playoffs early in the year, because that team will not produce like that if it has to play outdoors in the playoffs.
Now back to the ground. Receivers can't hold on to it. So Cincinnati says, can we run with it? And Pepper Johnson says, no, you can't. Now to finish the story of Dave Shula, he came out to the stadium here yesterday, and as I mentioned, that story had been in the newspaper here, and he walked in the locker room, and the locker room attendant said, I read the story in the paper, said, and I remember that I was here.
61 is eligible, 61.
He said, you were here? I said, oh, yeah. I said, I was a locker room attendant 31 years ago.
It's that kind of place. He also told us, Charlie, he ran on the field some. So if you're looking for people here to run on the field and get samples of grass here at the stadium, there isn't any grass here at the stadium. No. That's green dirt.
Here is Blake slipping to the outside after a pump fake. He's going to come up short and will be stopped at the 16-yard line by Rob Burnett.
Well, they're getting excellent coverage down the field by the defense here. That's enabling the defensive line to put a squeeze on Blake. You can't get a pup and go action against a zone the way they're playing it on the outside. Burnett comes in with the sack, but Blake was running the whole way. He had nothing to do.
We're going to bring the chains out to check the measurement, then to make the decision. While they do this, quick reminder, if you're watching on satellite, Cleveland Browns fans, call us 1-800-400-JONES and let us know where you are, where you're watching this historic game. Could well be the last of the Cleveland Browns here at Cleveland Stadium. So there you see the call. They'll refuse the penalty. That'll make it 4th down, and that means that Cincinnati will be kicking. Oh, also, if you're outside of the country on satellite, you can call collect 619-454-1417. 619-454-1417. Second half, we'll let you know who all is watching around the world.
I don't know what that measurement was all about there, Charlie. I mean, it was clearly short. Here's the situation, though, for the Cincinnati Bengals. Do not kick this ball to Alexander. This is a classic setup for an opportunity for a return from the Cleveland Browns. Alexander is the deep back. Now, Keenan McCardell is the up back about 10 yards in front of him. That's for a short kick. I think Cleveland's going to come after this ball. They almost got to him earlier. Lee Johnson kicking. Doesn't turn over, but is taken at the
38-yard line. Good coverage. Slips a couple of tackles. Cannot get around the corner. Ball pops loose. And they're still battling for it. Cincinnati says they have it. One official pointed one way, one the other.
It is Cincinnati ball,
It is going to be Cincinnati's ball. I love that classic when one comes up one way and one the other.
Can't be wrong.
No, you got it covered. All right, 46 yards on the kick. Eric Bieniemy recovers the fumble. Back in a moment.
Here comes the fumble by Alexander. Had a wall. The wall closed. Bracy Walker busts that ball loose. And watch the scramble. Wheeler was there. The whole group was there. Brady was there. One of those fractured flickers kind of fumble.
So a first down, play action fake. Buys all the time in the world. Deep. Great catch.
Troy Sadowski. Wow, did Sadowski get hit while he was in the air by Vashon Adams? What concentration. Rob Burnett should have had Blake.
It was Tony McGee.
Was it McGee?
Yeah.
Woo.
24 yards. Look at this.
Watch Burnett right here. Loses contain. That's what contain on a quarterback isn't. Blake throws this thing out, puts McGee up for grabs. Adams hits him early, and he still comes down with it.
Oh, great reception. McGee's 50th reception on the year.
That's the value of a real tight end to an offense.
Anything on the ground? Well, a little bit, not a lot. 12-yard line. Second down and 7. We talked about the Browns inside the 20, the red zone. What about the Bengals?
The Bengals are a little deceiving. As you see, they're just a tick over 50% inside the 20. The deal for David Shula's offense is they don't get yards in 5, 6, 7-yard spurts and little passes. Their touchdowns into the end zone come from the 30, 40, 50-yard line in.
Blake sets up, throws, end zone, knocked away. Good defensive play.
There's Vashon Adams.
Vashon Adams, the rookie free agent.
He's trying to get the dog pound down there, a little excited about what's going on. His timing so far has been absolutely perfect, getting there the same time as the ball.
Darnay Scott, the intended receiver. Blake has completed only 2 of 8 for 40 yards.
We saw Caldwell was there short in that little zone, but Adams made that great swiping motion with the ball.
Eric Bieniemy is the remaining back. He is there to block and moves over on the screen. Tipped. Is it intercepted? No, incomplete. The Browns almost had the interception. That was Pepper Johnson. It was really a pleasure talking to him yesterday, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean he's one of the real true fire and brimstone kind of guys on this Cleveland Browns team. He got most of that playing with the LTs and the Carl Banks in New York and the Marshalls and guys like that when Belichick was the coordinator there, and he's got the kind of fire this entire team needs.
30-yard field goal attempt by Doug Pelfrey. Right into the dog zone. And he nails it. And Cincinnati is on the scoreboard. The Browns lead it 7-3. Back with the kickoff in a moment.
Entertainment Week NFL on NBC is brought to you by Acura, who invite you to test drive the exciting new GL series. By the Citizen Watch Company. Citizen is how the world tells time. By Intel, the world's leading maker of microprocessors. And by Red Dog Beer. Bold yet smooth, unusually easy to drink. You are your own dog.
The sentiments of the Cleveland Browns fans here. 7-3 ball game, Cleveland on top. And that means that Lee Johnson is going to kick it away with number 85 Derek Alexander and 87 Keenan McCardell as the return man. And McCardell takes it right out of Alexander's hands. He returns it across the 30 out to the 32-yard line. Next Saturday, NBC Sports presents more exciting NFL action starting at the special time of 12 noon Eastern with the NFL on NBC. Junior Seau and Stan Humphries, the defending AFC champion San Diego Chargers, fighting for a playoff spot then head to the Meadowlands to battle Dave Brown, Rodney Hampton, and the New York Giants. And following the game, a special post-game edition of the NFL on NBC featuring the selection of the Bob Hope All-American team featuring Heisman Trophy winner Eddie George of Ohio State. It's a special Saturday edition of the NFL on NBC starting at 12 noon Eastern Time right here on NBC. Cleveland with a first down and the ball at their own 32-yard line. Testaverde to throw. Flushed out of the pocket. And he runs a little pump fake. Not a bad run. He, of course, is timed by an hourglass.
Well, it's interesting.
But he makes a good move, and has a big smile on his face. 9 yards.
Well, it's interesting, Charlie. The Cincinnati defense said the biggest difference between Testaverde and Zaire, the backup, is basically that Zaire can run and really brings that wiggle. But, you know, if you've been watching this quarterback Testaverde for very long, you saw him run like the Dickens in Tampa Bay, mostly for his life. But they designed plays for him to run down there. Don't be fooled. Vinny Testaverde can run with the ball. He'd just rather not.
2nd and 1, 4 wide receivers. Good protection downfield. Juggled, held on to. Yes. It'll be at the 50-yard line. And it's Andre Rison.
The love affair continues.
Yes.
Between Andre and the Browns back.
It's not the love boat, it's the boo boat.
Right, I mean, Andre makes an easy one look tough and makes a tough one look easy on both those catches you just saw right there. And that's the reaction Andre's gotten from these fans based on the fact that he said he can't wait to get to Baltimore because of the way the fans have treated him.
First down, 50-yard line. Earnest Byner with a couple of good moves. He has really been active.
He's good on frozen dirt. He's found his form.
He has now rushed for 51 yards.
Yeah, I mean, why worry about AstroTurf and grass? Get this guy on frozen dirt. He can hop. He's making his imitation of one of the world's largest bunny rabbits there, hopping back and forth. But
well, that's a holiday season.
That's good stuff so far. 4 yards plus a carry.
42-yard line. 2nd down and a couple. Has a man. Testaverde hits him. Yes, has the catch at the 21-yard line. You can tell from the boos a gain of 20. It's number 80 once again, Andre Rison.
Well, that play is made by the play-action fake to Byner because the runs work so well. There's the fake. Top receiver was Andre Rison. Here's the kind of receiver Rison is. Low, inside, still gets it. Guy's not exactly what you'd call a character reference, but he can catch a football.
7 weeks ago against Cincinnati, he caught 7 for 173 yards. Here's Byner. Little head fake to the outside, comes back in, goes to the 16. There's another 5 yards for Byner.
And of course, you got people pointing both ways.
A fumble
well,
at
the Browns are pointing at the ground saying he was down, and the Bengals are pointing the other way saying we got the ball. I like the points at the ground better.
Well, at least because the officials aren't jumping in with any dexterity to pull it out. We'll take another look.
Watch where this ball comes loose, because it does come loose. There's Byner, and the ball's out. That's a fumble.
That is a fumble.
Without
Bring back
a
the
doubt.
instant replay.
Without a doubt, that is a fumble. Right there covering that ball, and right around the fumble again near the ball was Bracy Walker, number 27.
And here is Byner.
And there's a flag, and it's going to be holding.
Meanwhile, Byner's having a problem with his socks. And the dress patrol of the NFL will be on him if he doesn't keep them up.
Number 66 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat, 2nd down.
The fashion police will fine him.
That hold there against Tony Jones, the big left tackle for the Cleveland Browns. That's Bracy Walker, number 27. Been around the ball a couple times when it's been on the ground.
Injury timeout. We'll step aside. We'll be back in a moment. 7-3 Cleveland.
This is Emma.
You want to know what a stinger is? Left screen, number 27. Watch, and you will see.
He made contact with the face right there against Byner, and thus comes the stinger part. That's a little nerve sting down the arms.
2nd down and 16. Going deep, has a man, and misses him. Two over the wrong shoulder. Michael Jackson was looking to his right. The pass was to his left. We go to our right to New York.
All right. right, Charlie, thank you. And in Houston, rookie quarterback Steve McNair, getting his first start, unleashes a 34-yard touchdown pass to Haywood Jeffries. Add that to the field goal that the Oilers have on the board, and Houston leads the Jets 10-0 second quarter. Charlie?
All right, thank you, Greg. I think he's going to be a great one. The boos, of course, will give you the correction. It was Andre Rison, the intended receiver. Here's a screen. Middle screen, Byner. Slips a little bit. Now has his running shoes on and goes out of bounds. We mentioned about the stinger. What does it feel like?
All right, it's, I guess, the closest analogy you can make to getting a stinger and the nerves running down your arms as a result of getting hit in the head like that. Kind of like stick your finger in a light socket.
No, I don't want to do that.
That's about what it feels like.
What about like if you hit your crazy bone? Is it that feeling all the way up and down the arm?
That times 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That much? Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
It's not a pleasant experience, but it does tend to go away fairly quickly.
That's the good part. 37-yard field goal attempt by Matt Stover. And this is going to be there. Yes, 37 yards away. And Cleveland back on top by 7. Back with the kickoff in a moment.
Mad about you. It's their first New Year's apart. And Paul drops the ball in Times Square.
The cable's going to slip. What, are you kidding me? The 1 year I decide to stay home.
And on Hope and Gloria, meet Dennis's ex-wives.
Yeah. Your family.
Family this.
All new NBC tonight.
Matt Stover just tied his personal record of 26 field goals in a year. He got 26 last year, number 26 this year. And we are underway. Taken to the 2-yard line. This is David Dunn on the return. Has an opening. He can turn it on. Little 360 move out across the 40, 45, 47-yard line. It's about 45 yards on the kickoff return. And Bashan Adams finally got him. Ooh, good return.
Well, good return and good blocking up front. Something happens in the middle of this coverage team here. Watch Sutter, number 54. Right there on the right side of the screen. Gets absolutely boloed. That's what opens up that big hole for Dunn to get through. And I mean, it's just one of those momentum things. And you just talked about you're getting a new record, personal record for Matt Stover on field goals. That's the sad thing about this year offensively for Cleveland, is the highlight has been the kicker's production.
And here's a highlight for the Cincinnati Bengals, and that is Jeff Blake throwing. And he goes to Tony McGee, 16 yards. McGee now his second reception of the ball game. He has 51 on the year. And a gain of 40 yards on the play. We talked with Jeff Blake and asked about his young son, Trey, who now is 13 days old, had some surgery because of intestinal problems. Says he's doing just fine. And in particular, his mother-in-law, a very special lady, Carolyn, is staying there with his wife and with their other kid, and has really been a big help. And so his mind is at ease today as he comes out throwing here in this drive. He's a nice young man. I enjoyed visiting with him.
And very deservedly so. He's a Pro Bowler this year. I think he was a little surprised with the marquee guys, you know, the Elways, the Marinos, and Kellys and whatnot in the AFC. But, you know, like I told him last night, I said, I'm sorry, Jeff, but when you start throwing up, you know, get around the 30 number touchdown pass-wise in a season, you start throwing for the yards you do and making the big plays you do, people notice. 26
touchdown passes, over 3,000 yards. Game and a half to go in the season. Anything on the ground? No, there's nothing there. We got a flag on the ground. That's there. He said he had 2 goals when he came in the league, Pro Bowl and Super Bowl, and he got the first one.
Before the ball was snapped, ball start. Number 86, 5 yards. It's still first down.
Darnay Scott called on the false start, so take the ball back out to the 28-yard line.
Yeah, well, Blake's got 1 goal down. The Super Bowl's a big one. You know, I was on 49er teams that beat the Bengals twice in Super Bowls when they had shots at getting it. I'm not sure if Jeff Blake might not have to play somewhere else to get a Super Bowl ring. I don't know if the Bengals got it in him.
I don't know. He takes a sack here. You know what he said? If we can get to 500 ball, then, you know, we just need a few pieces to fill out the rest of the puzzle.
And part of the pieces of the puzzle is protection up front from his offensive line. Watch Footman, 78. Now you see me. Now you really see me. It should be now you see me, now you don't, because your line's in front of him, and the don't part never came into the equation, and Dan Footman gets himself another sack. And here's a guy that's had a catastrophic type knee injury. Talked about the rehab. He's come back. And he's really wants to be an encouragement to William Floyd, his former Florida State teammate for the 49ers, who blew his out earlier this year.
When we talked, he said, why do you want to talk to me? Then he sat down. We talked for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And he talked about wanting just to he talked about the height of the quarterback, Blake. Now there's some exchanges here.
And
is this what you expected? Is this the fight? You said there's going to be one.
A little bit here, but what you're going to have a lot of pushing and shoving from these offensive linemen, because, you know, Footman in this line want to push the offensive line. A delay a game against Cincinnati, but, you know, Footman in this defensive line want to push the offensive line back into Blake's face. Yeah. And that's an ego thing, you know, because it's a misnomer calling offensive linemen offensive players. They're by nature very defensive. They give a lot, and they hit very, very rarely in an aggressive mode. You're very much a defensive player. In this mode, the defensive linemen are on the offensive. They're trying to smash this offensive line, specifically the guards and center, back into Blake's face.
2nd and 27. Anything on the ground? Yes, there's a little bit. And that's Hale Green. Green gets a chunk of it back. And he picks up 11 yards on the play.
Well, if you're going to be aggressive, you're going to attack, you're going to try to smash the line back into Blake's face, well, let them go. Let them smash all they want. They run by the running back with the ball. It really doesn't matter. Footman runs by him.
61
Burnett runs by him.
61.
And let's take a look at what Footman does here. Joe Walter barely gets a breath on him, but it's still enough to keep him from making that tackle.
So it is 3rd and 17, 3 tight ends. So that means that Melvin Tuta, number 61, is an eligible receiver. Bengals have converted only 1 of 5 third down opportunities, and this one is going to be there. Yes. Excellent running after the catch by Jeff Hill. Hill, the free agent out of Purdue. He needed 17. He got it with 2 steps. 19 yards on the play, first down.
Inexcusable, Charlie. Pepper Johnson talked about, you know, it's not the 3rd and 1s and 3rd and 2s you give up that really make you mad. You get a team in 3rd and 16, 3rd and 17, and they lunge and lurch and just get enough for a first down. That makes you nuts, because an offense gets momentum, and momentum offensively usually means points.
First down, 12-yard line, headed into the dog pound over the middle. It is pulled in at the 5-yard line. Darnay Scott with the reception, and Pepper Johnson was all over him at the 5.
Well, remember that this is not a goal-to-goal situation. The Bengals can get a first down right around the 2-yard line, so that's a big reception over the middle of the ball. That sets up with 3 yards to go, 2 cracks for a first down, 5 yards for a touchdown.
Play action fake. Wait. Back edge of the end zone, and it is there for the score. And it is Carl Pickens who pulls it in.
No.
They say no?
Are they calling that incomplete?
Oh.
He's not arguing either. I mean, receivers are...
What official? I saw the hands go up.
Watch what happens here.
Right.
Blake, well, for one thing, Blake's got forever.
Oh, yes.
They're playing the zone. Look at Pickens. He stops.
Open.
He throws it behind the linebacker, and clearly that ball hit the ground.
Good call. So it is 3rd down and 3, and he was wide open, too. Looking again over the middle. Tipped, incomplete. It is broken up. Stevan Moore breaks it up. Very good defensive play.
Oh, nice example there of red zone defense. Watch the linebackers and the defensive backs from the quarterback's perspective. There's Stephon Moore in the middle. 27, lurches out and gets it. I mean, you're playing zones, you're setting up in your picket fence, and they can't get it through the slots in the picket fence. Stephon Moore gets it.
22-yard field goal attempt by Doug Pelfrey, and it's blocked. And so what looked like a shining hour for the Bengals ends up a disaster. They come away with absolutely nothing. Was it Rob Burnett? Rob Burnett, number 90, who makes the block.
Well, Burnett blocks it, and Pepper Johnson gets a reception. Catches that. Almost wanted a fair catch that thing, but it's the third block of the season for the Browns. Look at Burnett right through the gut. Just smothers that thing. And there's Pepper Johnson's catch.
And so Cleveland will now take over at their own 20-yard line. Cleveland up by 7, 10-3, 2:40 time remaining in the first half. Earnest Byner along the line. They string him out. He's going to lose a couple of yards on the play, maybe 3.
Well, so far the Browns have gotten away with their pound it out and be very conservative mode because Blake and the Bengals have not been able to take advantage when they've gotten down near the end zone. They are not getting those big plays offensively.
Steve Tovar, the middle linebacker from Ohio State, and an Ohio young man as he grew up, wanted to be play for the Browns, always a Browns fan, and he is in a way glad, but in a way saddened to be playing in this particular ball game, the last one here in the stadium.
Look at the club on the right hand too. He played the beginning of the year with a cast on his left hand. Now it's on the right hand.
2-minute warning.
10-3 Cleveland. Back in a moment.
Eastern, the Pittsburgh Steelers battle the Green Bay Packers. Traditional powers meet on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Then the Denver Broncos take on the Oakland Raiders. A Wild West matchup with everything on the line. Original action. An NFL on NBC doubleheader next Sunday.
Coming up at half, the Domino's halftime report. Greg Gumbel will be along with Joe Gibbs and Joe Montana. Bob Costas, Mike Ditka will have a report here in Cleveland. That's the Domino's halftime report coming up next here on NBC. Testaverde. He goes deep, has a man open, had 2 open actually. A sliding reception by Michael Jackson. And in addition, Keenan McCardell was open deep over the middle, 30 yards. We've got a timeout. We'll step aside. Back in a moment.
Timeout. Cleveland, their first. It'll be a 40-second timeout.
We talked about Corey Sawyer wanting to loosen up his attitude. Well, it's time to tighten up the defense. Little slip on the frozen dirt for the young man. Michael Jackson makes a nice adjustment to the ball. Now has 3 catches for 61 yards. Vinny off to a pretty good start, Charlie. 11 of 14, 118 yards and a touchdown.
50-yard line. 1 minute and 50 seconds time remaining in the first half. And America's team, the Cleveland Browns, and they certainly have been that over the last month and a half with the reaction around the world to the move. Now here's Pressure throwing this one away. Has a man over there. Oh, it's Andre Rison who just was lurking in the neighborhood. He didn't even look that way. He was just getting rid of it.
Well, yeah, I think there was a design to that, Charlie. Vinny knows where everybody is on the football field. Now, as he starts to go to the right, he gets flushed. And when he gets flushed, he knows that Andre's over there waiting. Now, watch Rison adjust to it, because this thing's got some hang time on it.
Yes, it does.
You know, Rison last week had 1 catch for 49 yards and disappeared. Right now, they're using him 3 catches for 42 yards.
And this is a man they're using, Byner. He cuts back. He's got the first down. Clock is moving, 1:35 and counting. Cleveland with 2 timeouts remaining in the first half.
Now, this is the offensive mix I think people expected to see more of out of the Cleveland Browns this year.
Cincinnati has a man down, injury timeout. It is
Timeout.
John Copeland.
Cincinnati, anytime there's an injury inside of 2 minutes, it's a charged timeout.
And we have an
That's
excellent microphone on our referee, Jerry Austin. Byner, 15 carries. He's rushed for 64 yards in the first half.
And he's done a lot of it, Charlie, with that bunny hop and that skip sideways he's doing, because there was nothing in the middle where that run was designed to go. Bad containment job by the outside of the Cleveland Browns defense, and just a good move by a very, very well thought of veteran here on this football team.
And a quick reminder of those Cleveland Browns fans watching around the world. The number to call to let us know where you are is 1-800-400-JONES, and make those calls within the next 5 or 10 minutes, because we're going to close down the phones at halftime, and we'll come back in the second half with a report from the people that we've heard from around the world. Again, the number 1-800-400-JONES. Still with that injury timeout. Now 1:27, minute 27 time remaining in the first half. Cleveland on top and on a drive.
You know, one thing you don't need when you have a real solid grass field, you don't need guys to clean out their cleats. And in the Cleveland offensive huddle right now, you've got these big plastic things that are on board. See those right there?
Yeah.
This guy's job is to go out on the field and put those down, and everybody scrapes their feet on it.
Like golfers do.
And you're not trying to get the grass out from underneath your cleats. You're trying to get the mud out from underneath your cleats. You know, the amazing thing is, you talk about the technology of football and the helmets change and the pads and the knee braces. The dirt cleaners at Cleveland Stadium are probably here when David Shula was 5 years old.
It is a first down for Cleveland. And here is Byner. Shut off inside. Slips one tackle. Second man gets it back to the line of scrimmage. Andre Collins is credited with the tackle.
Tony Jones, 66, the big left tackle, down holding a knee.
An injury timeout, and that will be a charge timeout.
Timeout, Cleveland, their second.
This is Charlie Jones, Randy Cross, and by the way, outside the country, the number to call, 619-454-1417. Last announcement. We'll check it out at halftime, let you know in the second half. Back to the game.
You saw Tony Jones in the sideline. He walked up and kind of bunny hopped off the field, limping on that leg. But very important here. I think for the Browns, they need to hear some boos.
You're big into bunnies.
Hey, if they hear, Charlie, they hear boos, that means Andre Rison's getting the ball.
That's right. And they feed. Everybody that we talk to in the Browns, they feed on the crowd here. Even when they get the boos, they want to turn them around and play better. Of course, they enjoy the cheers.
The ball was snapped, number 87. Ball starts, 5 yards. It's still second down.
Keenan McCardell. Now a couple of injuries, a false start, and all of a sudden has the momentum gone out of this drive.
Well, it takes a lot of the enthusiasm out of the drive, and it really takes a lot of the imagination and mix out of a drive, too. When you back yourself up like this, you've got to throw the ball.
Second down, 16. And it is Byner who pulls it in, 24-yard line. He has been all world in the first half. He's pulled down by Roger Jones.
Well, I hope Earnest Byner got a lot of sleep this week, because he's definitely going to burn off some energy. Vinny and the offense into a hurry-up.
Outside, right flat. Listen to the boos. That means it's Andre Rison. Corey Sawyer chases him out. That move will stop the clock with 45 seconds left in the first half.
That was a nice job by Andre Rison getting those feet just inside that first down marker. Get the offense that first down. Now you want to look for a man matchup. You got Jackson, you got Rison, you have McCardell.
Cincinnati shows blitz. Now they come. Here's the pressure and gets it away to Byner down inside the field of play, so the clock continues to move. Audible call. No huddle.
A quick hitch up top would work to Rison.
Looking left, throwing over the middle, diving reception, touchdown. Keenan McCardell, 16 yards, and a great catch.
That's a good example there of taking advantage of what a defense is giving you. You had Michael Jackson on one side, Rison on the other. They were doing a little double coverage on the outsides. That opens up the middle for McCardell. Coming from the left slot, clear about now, dives about then, and gets himself 6.
Oh, yeah. And that is his 4th touchdown of the year. Stover to attempt the point after. And he's got it. Browns lead it 17-3.
Hi, I'm Steve Largent, checking out a little personal history at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I can't believe it's been 5 years since I last played a game in the National Football League. But now I can get right back into the action, thanks to an exciting and unique attraction called the 100-Yard Universe. Your official sideline pass admits you to the locker room theater, where 6 channels of digital surround sound put you in the middle of pregame preparation. You'll never get closer to an NFL pep talk. Then some advanced technology puts a new spin on things, literally. This theater actually rotates, allowing the fans to follow the players on game day from the locker room to the field for the spectacular stadium show. It's a CinemaScope extravaganza, supported by an 80-piece orchestra that brings the action so close, you can almost touch it. Watch out! So take a trip to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. You'll see NFL action like you've never seen it before in the 100-Yard Universe.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Now, we showed you Keenan McCardell and what he did. All Vinny Testaverde did on that drive, 6 of 6 for 76 yards and a touchdown on that drive.
A one-hop on the kickoff taken by one of the up-backs. It's Eric Bieniemy.
You know, and really on that scoring drive, Vinny and this offense have done everything that coming into this game, I think everyone expected out of Jeff Blake and the Cincinnati offense. Just being very efficient with the passing game, making things happen, having receivers make tough catches. And right now for Cincinnati, they haven't made much happen. And they haven't made very many of the easy catches, much less catches, with only 125 yards total offense in the first half compared to 237 for the Cleveland Browns.
Browns almost 2-1 to this point. Not quite, but almost. First down, 14 seconds left, second quarter. 4 receivers going deep sideline, almost intercepted. It was right there for Stephon Moore, but he couldn't pull it in.
Oh, he knocked it down.
He was busy keeping his feet in bounds.
He knocked it down very well, Charlie.
Yes,
it's a defensive back's job to knock down passes, and here's a good job by a safety. He got the he's looking at the thumbs, he's looking at the ball, and he's still looking at the ball.
That's right, and he had a smile in case the photographer was there.
It never stopped on the way through his hands.
It never did. Picked up speed as it ricocheted off of the thumb. Second down. Steps forward in the pocket, over the middle. Here's the first down, 49-yard line.
That's it.
Timeout. And not in time. 14 yards, the clock expires. It is halftime. Cleveland leads it 17-3. We go to Greg Gumbel in our halftime studios in New York.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza.
11 on News 22.
Summer in Atlanta, the greatest spectacle in sports. The Olympic Games return to America on NBC.
Welcome back to Cleveland. This is Charlie Jones along with Randy Cross. The Cleveland Browns with an excellent first half. They had lost 6 games in a row, and now all of a sudden they are playing once again like a football team.
Well, they are. What the Cleveland Browns fans have seen is they've seen a very good game plan so far. It's worked out just perfectly, controlling the ball, going for big plays when they could get it, and offensively for Cincinnati, very, very poor execution. Vinny Testaverde is red hot right now, and this offense for Cleveland is doing what everybody expected them to do most of the season.
Can the Bengals stop this offense in the second half?
I think they can control